Hey everyone, today I'm going to be doing the fire drill tag, finally. The tag was created by Liz Loves Literature and I was tagged by Chris from the Reading Rose. I was tagged to do this at least 6 weeks ago now, quite a long time ago, and I just haven't got around doing it, so here it is, finally. Now, the idea of this tag is basically if you had to rescue a selection of books, what books would you choose and carry out in a sort of fireman's sort of hold to side, which I'm not going to do in the course of this video because just getting the picture for the thumbnail ended up with me dropping several books on the floor, so I'm not going to risk that again. I'll be doing these pretty much in physical sizes of books from smallest to largest. So I'll start with Good Omens, which is a collaborative book between Neil Gaiman, who everybody likes, and Terry Pratchett, who might not be as well known to some people, but Terry Pratchett is the original author. I mean, indeed, the first book I read was Terry Pratchett. So this book in particular, though, is phenomenal. I love this book. It shows off both Pratchett's weird sense of humour and also Gaiman's, because he's got a very peculiar sort of dark sense of humour as well. And the book is just amazing. The Four Horsemen of the Four Bikers of the Apocalypse on the top of the book. Right. And yeah, it's a really good book, quite funny actually as well. Oh yes, and that would be a reread as well. I've read that, of course, many times over the years. Now onto the second book I'll be able to bring with me, and that would be The Swarm by Frank. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his surname. If you can see, that's his surname. Obviously I'm going to link all the books in the description below. And yeah, The Swarm is... I haven't read this. It's actually the first book I brought in November that was inspired by YouTube or BookTube, as the case may be. So, and I do want to read this at some point. It is quite hefty though, it's nearly 900 pages. So it's noticeable, even for me. It sounds a really interesting one though. Now, the next book I've chosen is one that I've actually done a book review of. Indeed, this was my first book review. China Miéville and Perdido Street Station. It's, again, weirdly enough, a really big book. I'm not choosing it for that reason. And it's a book I love. It's the first ever steampunk genre book that I've ever read. And it is a phenomenal book, really good. If you want an interesting book and you want to go into the steampunk genre a little bit, and you don't mind it being a bit bizarre, then this is a book that you may want to try. It is a brilliant book and I recommend this to anybody. Although, if you've got an issue with big books, then yeah, it may not be ideal. I mean, it is nearly 900 pages. So some people might find this a little bit too heavy going. To me, that's perfectly normal. The next and fourth book I'm going to choose is actually one of the latest books I've brought. I mean, I've got an order active at the moment that I'm expecting delivered tomorrow. But, and that book is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I keep going to call him Kevin Kline, but that's not his name. Yeah, this is, well, you should know about this because it is talked about quite heavily on BookTube in the last, what, month, 2 months maybe. And it is a remarkably unusual book in some ways, some people are saying. It's to do with an online sort of gaming world, so to speak, in a future sort of world or universe, and people sort of get too involved in it or something. I can't explain it because I haven't read it, but I do really want to read this. And indeed, it does have a lot of references to the 80s sort of gaming references, book references, and stuff that cultural references. In other words, the next book, and indeed the penultimate book, is a reread, would be, and that is the Uplift trilogy by David Brin. Now, I love this book. This is actually the omnibus version. This is actually all the 3 books of the trilogy in one, which makes, it is a gargantuan book. It's 1,200 pages. So that is 3 books worth, though. Although the thing that's scary is the fact most of nearly half of that is one book. The first book is actually surprisingly short. It makes up 3 books, which is Sundiver, Startide Rising, and The Uplift War. All of them are brilliant. They are peculiar. It's to do with ascension. It's like a big, space sci-fi book, and it's all to do with ascension and forced evolution in a very unusual manner. Let's just say, especially the Startide Rising, that is kind of a peculiar book. Even I thought it's a bit hard, because the characters in it aren't entirely the normal people. Well, they're not people. They're not human, so most of them. So it's the really interesting collection of books, and they are books I love really badly. And finally, the final book that I'm going to choose is also the largest physical book I own out of all my books, and that is this monstrosity, which is the, hang on, I need to read it to pronounce it, Necronomicon. Yeah, I think that's correct. Yeah, the Necronomicon by H.P. Lovecraft. It's a really big book. It's probably thicker than almost anything else I've got by a good distance. Well, it's actually not as long as what you might think, because the pages are relatively thick, although it is still it's still considerable. It's nearly 900 pages, but considering the size of it, I've actually got books that are half this width and a lot more pages. But it's basically a collection of his, well, as that says, the best weird tales of H.P. Lovecraft. I've never read them yet. Kind of just the sheer size of the book and the fact that it's semi-heavy almost puts me off reading it in some ways, because I really need to be in the mood to read this at some point, because this is going to be quite a hefty book to actually physically keep open and read. But it is an amazing book, and it looks amazing. So that's it for the tag. I'll show you the book. I can't do the proper sort of under the arm hold because I can't get the view right. But that's them. Quite a pile. Really nice selection of books, I think. And I've tried to purposely go for books that are quite different, and some of these are really different. So that's it for the video. I hope you've liked the books I've shown, and indeed hopefully I've made people curious about one or two of them. If you want to ask me anything to do with any of these books, then of course please say so in the comment below, and I will reply as always. So that's it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you another day. Bye for now.